We're here again, basically on Twitter, but also YouTube and Facebook. And today we're going to talk about spirit guides. And we have to go fast because we need for this to be done in 30 minutes. And maybe you don't even believe in spirits. So then how on earth are you going to believe in spirit guides? I'm going to show you very quickly some of the spirit guides we work with, the group of us that do mantras. Every single one of these beings has shown up when we have had sessions like we're going to be giving here on Twitter, where we often meet enemies that don't want us to progress because they want to be able to keep their tight hold over humans with their cloak of invisibility. So all of these have shown up. We have not sought them out, and it has been definitely a learning experience working with them, starting with me, because honestly, I was so broken in my relationship with the spirit world when I was a child because, I was part of a secret program, et cetera, et cetera. And I was very frightened because most of the spirits that I saw, if not all of them, were like really bad people, not great intentions. There's a group of spirits that I really never believed in, but that in Cuban Santeria, which is that religion where they work with spirits, etc., and they do too much black magic. They talk about a spirit that likes to jerk people around. It's called un espíritu burlón, a spirit that jerks people around. I never believed in that, but I've run into a couple in the last year with clients, and they exist. There's all sorts of spirits, the same way there's all sorts of human beings. Let's go back to basics. This chat podcast is about spirit guides. What can I tell you that can help you establish for yourself a team of spirit guides that you can count on? Well, let's start with the fact that if you do not believe in spirits, you're dead in the water. Because in the other dimensions, lies don't sustain. The truth always comes out, and rather quickly. So why don't you believe in spirits? You don't believe in spirits because nobody taught you about the fact that humans have an assemblage of bodies, which are now on screen. For those who are in the podcast, it's the usual picture of the bodies. And at the end, we have the Merkaba, which is an energy body of humans, which is for when you have to leave the planet. So if you don't know anything about your assemblage of bodies, you're going to have a really rough time believing in spirits. So the gold body that you see is the one that is the astral spirit body. We all are born with a spirit, which we don't really talk about until we're ready to die, at which time a lot of people can see the spirit releasing from the physical body. I don't know how to activate the subtitles, okay? So can't help you. And this is different platforms. So I suggest, Raquel, that you go to the platform that you're on and activate it, because this is now up on 4 platforms. It's not, to my knowledge, I can't do that. Okay, so let me continue. So you are born into a physical body, but before you were born into the physical body, you had a spirit. And you're born into the physical body, and then the spirit is forced to follow your physical body into physicality. And that's what a lot of people consider that basically you died. Because when your spirit gets trapped with the physical body in the physical dimension, it's a pain in the neck because this dimension is very taxing. It's very difficult. So you always had a spirit. So then you go to the funeral of somebody who died, and some people will say, oh, I saw a spirit, or he was standing right next to the casket, or his spirit showed up at night and told me whatever. Okay. Accurate. Okay. What about that spirit before they died? Well, I don't know. You think the spirit popped out of no place? No, it didn't pop out of no place. It separates for the last time when the physical body dies, but it was always there with its own life. So you can have a spirit guide that is of a person who's alive. How's that happen? It's 2 different two different bodies and two separate intentions. So I'm going to tell you something now, and a lot of you are going to go, what's the matter with this lady? Where did this lady come from? Secret government program where we learned a ton of stuff that you were never privy to, which I'm trying to share with you to the extent that I'm allowed to. That's where I came from. Okay, so you have a spirit before you're born. And while you're incarnated, you still have a spirit. When it leaves at night, you call it astral travel, but it leaves during the day. So I'm going to tell you what I was going to tell you a moment ago, and then that might turn some of you off, but I suggest you don't click off because I have no reason to make this up. And I thought a long time before deciding to tell you. But you see, there's not a lot of time, so I'm not going to hold back stuff, even if I think that you may just click off and I may never hear from you again, because obviously what I'm saying is incorrect. I've been working with a particular group. We're called Mantristas, and all you have to do to be a member is to do mantras. There's no place to sign up. You don't have to wear anything special. You don't have to do anything special. What it really means is that you kind of realize that we have tools that make your life easier, and that's what it's all about, to make your life easier. So anyway, so after 2 or 3 years of working with a group of people that keeps growing, increasingly I have people. I'm alive, physical here. Hello. I know people want me dead this weekend. The Cuban mafia really wanted me gone, as in dead, as in planning, car accident. But I'm very much alive. I'm not leaving. I haven't finished my work. So many people who follow me send testimonials, which we don't ask for, via email, or they say them in the chats, that I appear in their dreams, or they're in a crisis with the family, whatever, and I appear and I help them out. I'm alive. How does that happen? Well, what was alive in me before I was born into this physical body is my astral spirit, and it's alive while I'm alive, and even more alive and liberated when this body dies. That part of me is so fully intended on helping people that when people are very distressed, I will show up. I will astral travel without knowing it. I can show up and help several people in one night. My spirit. You may already be doing that. This is not like, well, but she went through that program and she could. No, 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 no. It is all based on intention. What's your intention? Well, I want to help people. Well, I want to help people. That's very generic. It has to be more focused. Just letting you know that you could have spirit guides, that one of which is your grandmother that you don't even talk to because she is so controlling. Actually, I'm thinking of a grandson of mine now. So controlling, me, the grandmother. But I'm always with him. And I suspect he knows that. That's a spirit guide. So, what is this thing with spirit guides? Interesting. Who chooses them? Law of attraction. I had a friend who will be listening to this chat, and she spent a weekend with me many years ago when I gave a weekend of classes to people. So after everybody left, because she was staying in my home, we sat outside for a glass of wine. And I said, darn, I just have been told that you are going to have a new set of spirit guides because you really changed your frequency this weekend. And she started to cry. And I went, okay, what's wrong? And she said, I don't want new spirit guides. I want the old set. I said, but you had a frequency shift. Apparently you get a new set of guides. Oh, no, I don't want it. Tell them I don't want it. I went ahead and told them, but she doesn't decide who she gets. The law of attraction does. And her frequency rose that weekend because of information that resonated with her. And so she got a new set of guides. And she didn't want them because she didn't really understand. She didn't want change. The other dimensions changes like this. That's why you must know the concept of shape-shifting, which means you can shift into any shape you want in the other dimensions. Your astral spirit can shift into anything it wants to be, from a rock to a cat to an Egyptian mummy to a tiger, whatever you want. But you can't hold that shape for long. So if you are getting solicited, are working with spirit guides, or see someone and you want to know if they're legit, all you really have to do is wait. You see them. If they keep moving, if they won't stay still, they keep changing clothes, if they disappear and come back, it's just like, if they're like hyper, they probably are not what they're trying to look like, because the truth is not supported in the dimensions where the spirits are. You cannot live a lie but for a few moments, a minute maybe. So you cannot appear as if you were Archangel Gabriel when you're not, and keep that shape of Archangel Gabriel. You'll keep shifting. Now, did I know this 30 years ago? No. So I had a spirit guide that was always running around and changing clothes and changing hats. And I had somebody that worked with me who knew a lot. And she said, no, I just said blah, 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 blah. And I went, wow, I wonder why he's doing that. Well, he was doing that because he couldn't hold a shape, because he wasn't what he was pretending to be. So when it comes to spirit guides and to all spirits, you need to keep your discernment, your intuition, your psychic abilities. You need to pay attention to your body. Is it talking to you? Like I get goosebumps if somebody says something really important, or somebody says something that's really, really, really true. I get goosebumps. Okay? So I have understood through many years what it is that's going on, a lot having to do with my body's intuition letting me know. And I already know this about them being very, very sneaky, because there's a lot of spirits that are very sneaky, which brings me to the next thing. Teresa is saying that she often, oh, hold on. In order to get you on camera, here, I have to go like this. Nope, that's not the one I want. I want to put up where she, here we go. She asked for help, Teresa, when we're not together in a chat, and she knows that I'm going to be there. It doesn't sound like she actually sees me, but a lot of people see me. They can say the clothing that I have on, which is never this kind of clothing. So your spirit guides are chosen a lot, law of attraction. You cannot have spirit guides that you, I don't like to use the word earned, but I'm going to use it, that you haven't earned that level of spirits. You're going to get what your level and your vibration is. So how does this all start? You come in, but before you come in, you make arrangements with a lot of other guides, a lot of other spirits, for them to help you in this incarnation that you're coming into. You haven't been born yet. If you don't believe in reincarnation, most of what I'm going to say, any place, you're going to have a hard time with. What I suggest you do is just put away your belief, whether you believe or don't believe in reincarnation, and just listen to what I say. And then if the only thing where you think that I'm full of hot air is reincarnation, then maybe you need to re-examine your opinions about reincarnation, being that practically everybody throughout history has believed in reincarnation, because it's a system that explains a lot of stuff that you can't explain unless you accept it. Continuing. So before you're born, you choose the people that you're going to have around you, and you make agreements with them. And that also happens with spirit guides. There will be some people that say, I'm not joining you in this incarnation. I will be there in spirit. I will be a spirit guide. But again, depending upon your vibration, if you fall down a black hole after you get a divorce, or after you go bankrupt, that person, that spirit, that astral spirit, may not be able to do anything for you. Okay, so when you are not up to par and you are not ready, and you just kind of, you've been knocked to the ground by life, etc., you will have spirit guides, but they'll be sitting there taking a nap, filing their nails, thumbing through a magazine, not paying much attention to you because you're not going anyplace. The minute you step up to bat and say, I am going to do what I said I was going to do in this incarnation, or I'm going to align myself with my mission because I really want to help the planet and people and humanity, those spirit guides jump up and they're ready to go. And what can they do for you? They can do a lot. They can whisper in your ear so that you pay attention. When somebody's talking, you're not really paying attention, but what that person is saying is important. They will nudge you so that you listen. They will run in front of you and open doors. There's 6 doors. Only one of them is a good one. But you already said you want to align with your mission. You want to help the planet. They run ahead of you. They open the door that's the good one. And then oh, this is the door I need to go through. They are able to work for you and with you with what you said you wanted to do in this incarnation. It's kind of neat. They're there, but they're kind of sleeping. If you're wallowing in the misery of your life, which we all have the right to do. Now, one of the things that can help you to get on track and to get your spirit guides on track, having to do with being able to do their job, is to align with your mission. And and we don't need to take a lot of time on this. We have a video on our YouTube channel that's called Your Mission. And there is a mantra. And the mantra is, please God, I don't know if somebody wants to write it to get it up here on the chat. Please God, help us with our intention to align. No, just yourself. Please God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. And you keep repeating that in silence. Of all of the mantras that I have recommended through the years, that is the one that can most quickly settle you down. If you're like really out of sorts with your job, with your marriage, with your life, with the country you live in, that mantra, please God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. And those spirit guides, all of a sudden, they stand up. All of a sudden, things get easier. Spirit guides can do a lot for you. You can be completely out of it because of the death of someone in the family, and you need to find a document, and you're like out of it. They can pull the paper out a little bit for you to go, oh, thank God, that's the document. They can do a lot even on the physical dimension, but they are not going to do it unless here it is on intention is spelled with a T instead of an S. I do that all the time. The thing with 2 languages is a regular pain in the neck. Please God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. And you repeat it silently. So a lot of really synchronicity is spirits. You're ready? They're going to dish it out to you and you go, oh my God, what a coincidence. Not a coincidence. You said that you were ready and you're going to get an awful lot of help. Okay, so now this thing with spirit guides is very important, especially that children are informed about the fact that just because a spirit feels good, it doesn't mean that they're good people, that they're good spirits. Kids are being invaded, attacked, surrounded, swayed, persuaded, overwhelmed by spirits at night. Even the ones that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. They present themselves as good people to the kids, and the kids don't know any better. And then they start with the whole thing of, if you don't do what we say, we're going to kill your parents. Or they say, your parents are going to die. And then the kid goes into tremendous depression. At which time those spirits have a very easy to manipulate being on their hands. Many people make the mistake that I made decades ago of thinking that because a spirit knows so much and they're prophetic, they can tell you what's going to happen in the future. Oh my God, they were so accurate about the thing with my boyfriend. Yeah, everybody's psychic in the other dimensions. You don't have the time restrictions that you have on the physical dimension. Therefore, you can see what's going to happen in the future if things don't change. So kids need to know that. And so do adults. I knew somebody many years ago who had a particular spirit guide. I never trusted it because she picked up that spirit guide when she lived by herself in a huge haunted home. And she was lonely, and she found a spirit guide that really helped her to stay on her feet. Not the right conditions. Lonely, old house, haunted. It never felt right. And yet we used to ask her questions that she would ask her spirit guide, and he would give accurate answers. Oh my God, this spirit guide must be fantastic. We didn't know that. I didn't know. And then there was a particular moment in which she had to make a decision because there was somebody that she did not trust, that none of us trusted. And she was going to like go spend a weekend with him or something. And it was like, no, no, no. She said, well, you know what? I'm going to ask my spirit guide. And I went, wow, great. And she asked the spirit guide, and the spirit guide said, absolutely, don't worry. Yeah, those are bad people, but we're going to take care of you. No. No, those spirit guides were working with her, softening her up, breaking down her instincts, feeding her accurate information, keeping her entertained. And then they were like, great. And then when it came to a critical point, which is what they wanted, they were able to guide her in a way that she did something that went against her instincts, because she was the one who was asking, should I do this? Should I not do this? She was asking because instinctively she didn't want to. So she aligned herself with somebody because she didn't know any better, who basically destroyed her life because everything fell apart after that. Everything fell apart. So that spirit guide won because she didn't have the basic information which I'm giving you today. And what is that? The fact that it's a spirit really, really does not give them the monopoly on the future. First place, the future is elastic and plastic, it changes. It doesn't mean that they have good intentions. So the most important thing that you need to do, having to do with spirit guides, is to figure out what their intention is, which is why they present as historically sacred figures. Oh, Jesus Christ showed up. Yeah, okay. Entirely possible. Jesus Christ told me, no. I channeled St. Gabriel. No. St. Gabriel and none of the sacred people throughout our history will get inside somebody to be channeled. They don't channel from inside people. The good spirits do not get inside people. Your assemblage of bodies can never be occupied by ethical spirits. It's against the law. It's just against ethics, not the law. It's against ethics. So anytime you see somebody, no, they channel so-and-so, no. They are channeling somebody who may have all the information so-and-so has. They may be great. They're great psychics. But that person they're channeling, ethically, would never have gotten inside their body to be channeled. So you need to know that. And if you pay attention to the people that do a lot of channeling, and I'm so sorry because I know this will upset a lot of people. If you pay attention to people that do a lot of channeling, you will notice that they always have to have somebody, a mate, it's kind of like an attendant, because they can't pull it all together. They don't generally have successful lives. And if you look at them, they're fine. They're dressed okay, but they're kind of like disheveled. And yet they're not. Everything is fine. But it feels like they're disheveled because they are in the other dimensions. They are not put together. They're not centered. And they have something inside of them that does not have good intentions. I don't care if they spent 5 years giving out accurate information. The spirits that are the ones that you need to work with would never go inside anybody's body. And I've told you what I did many, many years ago without really understanding that what I was doing was unethical, which was to get in my spirit, get it inside somebody else's assemblage of bodies because that person was sick and needed to continue to work. So by going into her assemblage of bodies, she was able to continue to function. I did not know that that was unethical. I know that today when I tell the story, I tell people, yeah, we can all do that. It's not ethical. Don't do it. There's a reason why you should not be doing that. So spirit guides, you need to set up your own SWAT team, your spiritual SWAT team. How did we do it in terms of what I showed you a moment ago, which I will show you again right now? This is the SWAT team, which doesn't include all of the beings that show up when we have our sessions, and a lot of times we end up in full battle with bad spirits that want to take us down. And these individually or 2 or 3 of them together show up, depending upon what the situation is. Like the medicine Buddha, if you have a health issue, if you're going to battle it out with somebody, don't call in your spirit guide, the medicine Buddha, because that's not appropriate. The dragon, oh my God. When the dragons first started to show up, we were like, whoa, what is this? And then we were happy, but we didn't quite know what to do with any of this. And then we all ended up calling in our personal dragons, because it turns out that we can all have a personal dragon or several personal dragons that can be our spirit guides, which really is a more co-worker, because I don't find the dragons guiding us. When they come in, it's because we're in battle and we need help. And they come in and they do battle, and they're very powerful. They have also a great sense of humor. They don't talk, but they have a great sense of humor. How do I know that? I don't know, but they have a great sense of humor. They're not dour and very serious the way Osiris is. No, they have a sense of humor. They're very powerful, and they're very powerful in battle. Very powerful in battle. So everybody has really enjoyed finding out what their personal dragons are like. And you've heard that throughout history. And the kids who love their dragons, by the way, dragons are currently what used to be the Nagas, which are the serpent spirits of planet Earth. They are the owners of this planet. We did not originate here, human beings. We came after. The original owners are the Nagas. So today's version in Feng Shui are the dragons that protect your property. But you can have your own personal dragons, and you can call them in. If you're having trouble, somebody's bullying you, or something really ugly happens, you can call them in. Now, the spirit guide that we used the most was Anubis, which apparently everybody today loves Anubis. All the young people, when they see that, it's like, okay, I want to be there. Anubis is a very willing worker and very proactive. Osiris is not proactive, and the dragons are not proactive. They can be our spirit guides when it's appropriate, and through the filter of what they are. They don't just turn into whatever we want them to be. They have their own basic essence. So don't call in the medicine Buddha if you are under attack by a spirit because you have a deadline, and the spirits want to make sure that you don't meet that deadline. Don't call in the medicine Buddha unless you have a stomach ache. Let's see, do you want me to carry you? Let's carry you. So you need to know what, and you need to go, what I told everybody was go to the internet and find a dragon that you really like and print it up and put it on your computer, and it has ended up being a central part of our SWAT team, which can be your SWAT team, because honestly, in the other dimensions, nobody owns anything. It's really a law of attraction. What is your resonance? So apparently our group, where we have gotten together regularly, which we would like to do with all of you, also in English, our resonance has changed, has augmented, and then we've gotten new spirit guides and even more powerful. We got Anubis for a while, and then Anubis was not that important, and Osiris showed up, and we were like, whoa, we hit pay dirt. And the truth of the matter is we did hit pay dirt, but he's not as active as Anubis. So it's kind of like not as fun. Like he'll be like right now he's at the door, but he doesn't really look at me. He's looking to the side. He doesn't hook with people. Anubis doesn't either, but Anubis is much more in the moment, much more right there, whereas Osiris looked like he's always looking off into the distance, even though he knows everything. So all of these things are kind of fun. And if you're into mythology, you are going to love it. Because you do not have to have just angels as your spirit guide. As a matter of fact, you want angels, you should call them in. But the truth of the matter is, it's such a mess in the other dimensions. You need some heavy duty spirit guides. You need your own SWAT team. And there need to be some beings on that SWAT team that know about negativity and having to battle for your space and having to be protected at night. Now, when things get really critical, a lot of times, and this has happened for several years, my entire house, the inside, will be lined with the same spirit, one, but 100 times, standing next to each other. In other words, they create a wall, which I didn't ask for. And when I see that, I go, things are complicated. The authorities have some complications. Things are complicated. And it's my extra protection. Everything starts in the other dimensions. Everything starts in the other dimension. Nothing is initiated on the physical dimension. So when they're doing that, they have information that I don't have. I see it and I go, okay, so I need to maybe not go out as much or whatever adjustment I feel I need to make at that point, or just simply be more vigilant. So you have to learn to work with your spirit guides. But I'm not going to send you all the way over to the angelic realm unless you particularly want to go there and ask for spirit guides. What you have to figure out is, what do you need? What would feel good for you? What do you need to send? If your kid, because you're intuitive, you can feel that your kid is in trouble at school, or you have a child that's a little bit weak and stumbles a bit, and you're not even in the same city, but you can feel the child in trouble. You know what? You need to have a spirit guide already set up working with you. And then you just go, please help me out with my kid. Help me out. And they will. And they will. It's only been throughout history that people have had spirit guides. Now, to what extent, when they try to keep those pharaohs alive by what they do to the physical body, are they trying to keep the spirit so it'll be a spirit guide for that land, those peoples? We're going to look into that, because I think it's going, see the way when I start to do this with my nose, that's that there's spirits trying to get me to shut up. And then I feel it here. Okay. So you need to figure out what it is that you want. What is it that you need? And then you need to have fun on the internet and start looking it up. You want protection at night? Look up mythology and who's a protective mythological creature. I put a post on Monday. I didn't get a lot of attention at all. And I said, we really need to get the archaeologists out of our way and the scientists, because they have set us back. They say mythology, it's just a story, but you need to learn the story. Why do I need to learn a story that's not real? Give me a break. Why do I need to learn it? I don't get it. And then we have, of course, the psychiatrist that we had. I don't know remember the name of that dealt a lot with mythology, and I don't know what they call stereotypes. Forget stereotypes. That is an actual being that is available to you. You need to do a little bit of work. You have to figure out what you want, what you don't want, and then you need to believe in spirits, and then you need to believe that you are powerful enough that you can call in a spirit like Osiris. Now, if you call in Osiris initially, you probably won't get Osiris. We didn't call in Osiris. We actually didn't call in anybody. They would show up automatically as we were doing clearings and healings on countries, on wars, on potential problems that we could see in the news, things that came up or on hurricanes. And we would get spirits that would show up. And then as we started to work, to clear, to purify, somebody would say, we should call in the dragons. Of course. And half the people will go, I already called in my dragons, etc. You can do that too. And hopefully, as you listen to what it is that we share here, that we've already kind of worked through in the last 2 or 3 years, so we know it works. As you listen, your belief system will open up, your lens will widen, and you'll be able to incorporate this and have the benefit of being totally operational in the other dimensions, of having a system of assistance on this side, physical people, your lawyer, your doctor, your secretary, your housekeeper, your neighbor, and then on the other side, you have the spirit world. And they can help you also. They're ready, they're willing, they're able. And then you need your discernment. Okay, a lot of people here are saying, I'm the spirit guide. In a sense, apparently I am. What does that mean? Well, that's my intention. And what does that also mean? That the day I pass, they're not going to lose their spirit guide if it is true that I am their spirit guide. Because the thing that dies is the physical body, not the spirit. Now, how did this all start? 40 years ago, I went to a conference in Brazil on transpersonal psychology with Stan Grof, the man who did the experiments on LSD in this country. They brought him in, I think, from Poland, Yugoslavia, not really sure. So he did a conference in Brazil, and they did it because they wanted to try all of these spiritual herbs that are now being talked about a lot and apparently are really, really good. So I am on this trip, and my goodness, I forgot what it is that I wanted to say. No, I remember now. And most of my followers already have heard the story. So I'm on this trip. It's funny because I lived in Panama. What a nightmare, because I was trained in the jungle in Panama. This is not a good thing. I mean, okay. So we're in Brazil, in the jungle. We're in, I think, northern Brazil, and people were going on the expeditions to the jungle, and I didn't want to do it. And then I went, you know what? I already did this, but I did it a la natural when I was a kid in training without all of this great paraphernalia. I'm not going. But it was a 4-day conference, and then on Saturday night, which is the big night when the important person gives their speech, it was somebody from India, and he gave his speech, and I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening. I'm bored. I'm listening. And then he says, okay, everybody close your eyes. I'm going to give you, each and every one of you, a healing. Yeah, okay, fine. I really believe that. So I closed my eyes along with 500 other people because it was a big conference. And of course, after a couple of minutes, this hyperactivity, I didn't have the tools I have today. I was always a jittery nervous wreck. We know why, but still. I opened my eyes because I was bored. And when I opened my eyes, every single person in that room, 500 people, had this man, this guru, his spirit body standing next to them. He had duplicated himself 500 times and gave us each a healing. I saw it. So it's not a question of believing. I was shocked. And I went, oh my God, this is incredible. Incredible. And I think I set that intention 40 years ago on that trip to northern Brazil for a conference on transpersonal psychology. I set my intention. I want to do that. I want to heal 500 people at one time. You know what? I can do it. And we do those sessions here on Twitter. They're called Sanaciones Pink, because everything gets pink when I start to give the sessions. But now some of my followers get pink too. And if that's what you want, you can have it too. What's your intention? So everything, including magic, has to do with intention. Okay? So I'm going to finish because I'm already 10 minutes past. And I enjoyed sharing with you. I'm not systematic because if I am systematic, I get really boring. And I get bored. This hopping all over the place seems to work for me, and it seems to work for people that are listening. And if not, well, when we get it all figured out about the spirits, and somebody will write a book and you can read about it systematically. Meanwhile, I have what's called the power of induction. I didn't know that. From when I was a little kid, the military and the scientists that work with me said that when they were in my presence, their psychic abilities increased dramatically. So you might want to tune in with us, because when you're with me, your psychic abilities are going to increase, because I have a superpower declared by scientists and military of the power of induction. And that, by the way, is a skill that I use also to be able to take people literally off planet, for them to visit other places and to benefit from the vibration that they pick up there that they can bring back with them. So with that, I'm going to close. I'm Frances Fox. This was about spirit guides and what you need to know. And I do think that, if anything, the information I gave you today should make you aware that your instincts and your intuition, your perception, and that feeling you get in your heart, which is called intelligence of the heart, is very important in dealing with beings from the other dimensions. And that would include aliens. So thank you for listening. And we will see you again next Tuesday at 6, in which we're going to do the prosperity training again. Thank you for being with us.